Now, the complex challenges and changes of the defining decade will require us to work together, and in an ideal world that would also involve a serious and credible opposition that presents a serious and credible alternative about the future. Unfortunately, all we've got so far from the coalition is negativity and complacency in a moment that demands urgency and optimism. And we've seen that reveal itself in the characteristically shambolic way that they've already responded to the budget, categorising the indexation of pensions as overspending, looking for excuses to oppose energy bill relief for Middle Australia. But their lack of credibility and policy doesn't conceal the difference between us or soften the contrast. It makes the choice, I think, all the clearer. In this budget, we are offering the Australian people cost of living relief which is both substantial and responsible, and a longer-term vision shaped by a profound sense of optimism and what we can achieve together as a country, in a budget that is profoundly better because of our efforts to clean up the mess they left behind. Now, it's long past time for the coalition to present their plan. They've said there should be deep spending cuts. Well, it's time they say what they will cut. They promised to resurrect the old, skewed Stage 3 tax cuts. It's time to say what that will cost and how they'll pay for it. They said they'd spend even more on defence. It's time to say how much and where the money's coming from. And they've promised a nuclear policy. It's time to tell Australia what that looks like, where the nuclear reactors will go and how all of these promises will add up, so that Australians can decide for themselves which version of the future they prefer. This coalition clown show of nasty negativity and dead-end complacency, or a new generation of growth and prosperity, which makes our people the primary beneficiaries of the way our society and economy is changing. Now, we have all of the natural advantages we could possibly need to build that future, but the one resource we don't have at our disposal is time to waste. The budget reflects, I think, a real sense of urgency. We've undertaken more significant reform in 2 years than our predecessors managed in close to a decade. And Tuesday's second anniversary of Anthony's government, I think, is a rare opportunity to consider how far we have come together. During that time, we've made huge strides in strengthening Medicare, building our care economy, advancing our housing plan, investing in our clean energy future. It's been 2 years of managing and reforming our economy in the interests of the people. As I've said, we've overseen a more significant and most rapid budget improvement than at any other point in Australia's history, budgeting for back-to-back surpluses, reducing cumulative deficits by around 2/3, taking $150 billion off our national debt this year, saving $80 billion in interest costs, and improving the structural position of the budget by reducing those interest costs and managing the growth of the NDIS. We've set our economy on a much steadier footing. Inflation now is less than half its peak. The creation of 780,000 jobs, more than any other first-term government ever. Wages growing at rates not seen in over a decade, and strong business investment as well. We're making our markets more dynamic, our economy more competitive, our tax system fairer, and our policy foundations stronger. We're modernising our financial system across payments, financial market infrastructure and crypto. We're introducing a new sustainable finance strategy. We're strengthening and streamlining our foreign investment framework. We're delivering a tax cut for every Australian taxpayer, returning bracket creep and delivering an economic dividend, making sure that multinationals pay their fair share, that we get a fairer return from our LNG resources, and that super tax concessions are more sustainable. We're working to ensure the objective of super into law and make the system more effective for Australians in retirement, especially women. We're abolishing nuisance tariffs. We're renewing our institutions like the RBA and the Productivity Commission. And we're undertaking the most significant merger reform in half a century. So reform to go with the relief and the restraint. Now, I'm keen to get into your questions, but first I wanted to offer some concluding thoughts. Those of you who have heard me speak in this hall before know that I love the tapestry that is in here. I'm sure the hundreds of people who visit the tapestry in this Parliament House every day say the same thing. But where I think we differ from my appreciation from the big tapestry and others who visit here is because I see something of a budget process in that tapestry.